Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am canning up some ground beef today. Meijer's had a pretty good deal, probably the best price I've seen in many years. And I decided to go ahead and do it. They had a limit of 3 for the MPAX price of $2.49. So I picked up my limit of 3 and we're going to go ahead and can up this ground beef. Now it's 80-20. So I'm going to do a little finagling because I want to try to dehydrate this. So I'm going to boil one of these packages so I can dehydrate it and get that oil out so it dehydrates a little better. But I am canning up the rest in my pressure canner, and I'm using my ForJars canning lids. So if you want a discount on your ForJars order, I will leave my discount code in the description box below. So let's get to canning. Okay, so I have about 4 pounds in my electric skillet. And I'm going to brown this. And the only spices I'm going to add to this is salt and pepper. Just so I can be more versatile with it later on when I go to use it. And then I've got my water here coming to a boil in order to boil the rest of it and put it on my dehydrator. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so I'm just going to break this up as I go along. And I'm going to take all the pink out of it. I really miss my meat masher at these times, but yeah, it was a black one, so I had to get rid of it. I probably should get rid of this electric skillet too, but I'm gonna need a old stainless steel one. So if you know of one, put it in the comments below. I'll look into it because yeah, I'm trying to get all these sort of things out of our lives. So I'm just gonna brown this up, and I am gonna use some seasoning salt on it today. That's what I'm using. Seasoning salts. And I'll probably leave out the pepper because this has pepper in it. Okay, so apparently the seasoning salt does not have pepper in it. I was mistaken. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. It has paprika in it, but not just black pepper. So I'm going to add some of that as well. Okay, so my water has come to a boil. And the only thing I'm going to add to this for spices is just some Redmond's real salt. Get that in there. Probably like a teaspoon. Then I'm going to get my meat boiling. So I've got this one boiling. And I've got this one browning up. So we are cooking now. Okay, so my meat that I boiled here, I broke it up. So I'm just going to drain it off. Put it on a paper towel to get some more of that oil out of it. And break it up a little bit more. So I'm just going to break this up. I saw this done, Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry do this. So this is the first time I'm trying it. So if it works out, that'd be great. If not, it's a learning lesson. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to lay a paper towel over the top of it and just press out as much oil, grease out of it as I can. And we're going to get this on the dehydrating trays. So we'll see how this goes. And I might break it up a little bit more. You see how this like bleed clumps? And yes, I did wash my hands. As you can see, they're still a little bit wet. I'm just going to break them up while I'm putting them on the trays. Okay, so my meat is brown. I just see a few pink pieces here and there, not very much. I'll just leave it, I'll turn it off and leave it to warm further through. And while I get my jars and lids sanitized, washed and sanitized. Okay, so I have my jars washed and sanitized. My lids as well. And they're just in some warm water, not boiling, with some vinegar. And we're going to get to canning this. I like to use wide mouth canning lids. Well, obviously lids as well as jars for canning up meats, so that's what I save my wide mouth for. I find it's a lot easier to get whatever I'm canning in and out. Okay, so I've got my dehydrator out and I'm using the like the fine mat with it, not just the what comes with it, because that's kind of big. I think it's just gonna fall through, so this should be okay with this. I was gonna use the jelly rolls, but the jelly roll tray, like the solid one, but I think this will be fine. So I'm just gonna get this on here I'm just going to use my hand. It's clean. And I'm just going to make sure I break up these bigger clumps so they're a little more uniform so they dry evenly. So a little trick that I picked up from Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead. This is why I like watching other people's videos. I think she was cutting onions, and she put like a container in the middle so they don't fall in the center, because she has a round one like I do, not the square ones. But she put that in the middle so the whatever you're putting on the trays doesn't fall into the center. I thought that was an ingenious idea, and I've been doing it ever since. Okay, so some people will actually rinse their ground beef before they can it before they put it in the canner. I don't usually do that. I just avoid all the drippings at the bottom. So I'm not scooping that into the jar. I'm just taking it from here. And when I get to the bottom, I'll make sure I'm draining it. So I'm just taking from the top, and then when I get to that bottom layer, and I am using a slotted spoon, I'll make sure I'm really careful not to scoop up that fat and the juices and everything that's left down there. And I'll actually keep them, and I'll fry like vegetables and stuff in them, trying to make sure I don't scrape up that bottom layer. Just making sure I'm not taking the liquids, not scooping in the liquids like that. See, I wouldn't take that. I would leave that and make sure it's drained out before I use that part to put in a jar. So I'm going to get ahead and do this. And then I'm going to top it off with warm water right out of my tea kettle to the 1-inch headspace. Because you've already, fried out or cooked out the juices, and that's what's at the bottom. I just want to add a little bit in. Okay, so here is the fat and the juice that came out of that hamburger. And then I used a fine mesh strainer that I also put on top of a bowl. And that's what the rest of it that I got out. So I will keep that and put it in the fridge and use it to fry up veggies or rice even. Whatever I decide to put it in, I will keep that. I won't waste it. Okay, so my jars are filled up to 1-inch headspace. I'm going to add back some of that liquid into each of them. And this is hot water. Well, sort of hot, not really boiling hot. My jars are warm, my lids are warm, and obviously the meat is warm as well. And I'm going to debubble. See all those bubbles? You want to debubble, and importantly, wipe those rims. So I actually broke my debubbling tool that came with, I'm gonna have to do this two-handed, that came with my set. So I'm just using a silicone spatula. That's what I'm using, and I'm gonna have to do it two-handed so I can hold the jar so it doesn't move all over the place. So I'm making sure I'm wiping the rims, and I'm just using a paper towel that I wet with some vinegar, and I'm going to wipe the rims really good. And I'm turning every time to a new spot, and I will go over these a second time. These are 1-inch headspace. There's about a pound of meat in each, which is more than enough for my family of 5 when I make a meal, depending on what it is. If I'm making a meatloaf, obviously this probably wouldn't do well in a meatloaf. Probably wouldn't hold together as well, but you can do some things that you can tweak to try and make a meatloaf out of it. But it's not 100% meatloaf worthy, but that's okay because we can make a lot of other stuff with it. So everyone is a pound of beef. So my jars are hot or warm. My meat is warm. What I put in there is warm. My lids are warm, and more importantly, my canner is warm. So everything is about the same temp. So now on go I'm sorry about my camera that's putting on the light. It's storming outside right now, and it's getting overcast. It's about to start raining again. It's been raining all morning. So on go my wide mouth 4-jar lids. And then I'm going to put on my rings, put them in the canner, and get to processing. So with my electric, yeah, you see the light's not on anymore. Looks better, but I don't know why it's doing that. So with my electric, power pressure canner XL, I don't have to worry about altitude or anything like that. It works up to a specific altitude and it does all the calculations for me. I don't have to worry about that. So I have on my ForJars lids. I'm going to put on my rings and get them into the can. You want to put your rings on only to fingertip tighten. See, now it's moving, you stop. That's as much as you want to tighten them up. So tighten them and that's it. Don't crunch them down or anything like that. Don't do it, because the air in it needs to escape and you don't want to mess up the seal. So don't crank them down. Believe you me, I've done that a time or two, more times than I care to tell you. But it leads to siphoning and all sorts of stuff and failed seals. So you don't want to do that. But I'm going to get this into my canner now, and we're going to go into the next So one important thing I nearly forgot, your canning rack. You never want to put your jars right on the bottom of any canner. So put your canning rack in and make sure your water level is to where you're specific. I'm burning my fingers, yes I am. Not really. The rings are not that hot. It's the jars and everything else that's hot. So yeah, I should have used my tongs. But anyhow, I have got my ForJars in. ForJars with my ForJars lids. Funny. I'm using a bit of vinegar just because I have hard water and it helps with keeping the jars clean. I don't get that cloudiness. But I'm going to get my lid on and set the timer. So now I'm going to set my timer. I'm doing pints, so that's 75 minutes. And that is 75 minutes. I check my vents. Make sure my vents are all in the right place. Actually, that's not in the right place. Make sure you check your vents. Check your vents. Now my timer will do everything for me. My lid's locked. And it's 75 minutes for pints. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you're new to canning, 2 great resources. Bowl, complete book of home preserving. Great. This was my first pressure canning book that I got. Actually, yeah, I got a small batch one and then I got this. Because I was doing it in small batches because my canner only took 4 at a time. Doing a small batch today, even though I have a bigger canner. And this one from the USDA, also another great canning resource. If you're new to canning, if you're not new to canning and you just need a refresher, need times or suggestions, this has recipes in it, all sorts of things. Colorful pictures. This one is not as colorful, but it has great practical information as well. All the information you need is included in either one of these. I think there's definitely a newer version to this. I actually have it. I don't know what I did with it, but there is a newer version to this, but same basic information. If you can find it at a thrift store for cheap, yeah, I don't remember how much this was. Probably about $22.99 when I got it. I'm sure it's probably going up since then because I've had this for quite a while. And I'm using the all-impressive ForJars canning lids. I can't say enough about this company. It's a great, I haven't had any problems whatsoever with these canning lids. My bowl, sometimes I would get full seals, but I'm pretty sure that was probably user error. I know definitely one time it was user error, but I haven't had probably about 5 nut seal using bowl. So not terrible, but I haven't had any, knock on wood, it's wood underneath, and cross my fingers that, yeah, ForJars is, I can already tell the quality of them is really good. So if you're looking for a really good quality canning lid, this is it. I'm not sure if they have rings. I would have to check them out. I know they have a couple of other things I might be getting, but lids are definitely something you want to check out if you're looking for a good quality canning lid. And canning resources. We need to be preserving our food and getting those deals where we can, when we can, because yeah, we all know what the prices are in the store. So 2 great resources if you're looking to pressure can. So this is the other one I had. This has small batch recipes. I like this because I didn't want to make, my first starting out, I didn't want to make a whole big anything really, because if it failed, I didn't want to kind of waste that money. I mean, you can always, if your jars fail, whether it be meat, whether it be jam, whether it be whatever it is. You can always put it in the fridge and use it within 1 to 2 days or so of you canning it or you putting it in the fridge. So if the next day you check and your seals haven't held, don't throw it away. Things are way too expensive for you to be throwing it away. Put it in the fridge and use it 1 to 2 days. I've used like meat if I had hamburger that didn't seal, and I put it in the fridge. It's like having spaghetti sauce in the fridge. Would you throw that away? No. You use it in 1 to 2 days of you preparing it. And that's what I did. I actually made spaghetti sauce out of it, and it was fine. I used it the very next day because I was like, it's already cooked. I might as well just make a sauce out of it and put it over some pasta. And that's what I did. But if you're looking for a small batch canning, this is a great resource as well. You don't have those big batches. And I didn't have a canner that took, 20 plus pint-sized jars and 7 quart-sized jars. This does pints, and you can do 4 or so. I know the first time I did jam with this, it did, I think it was 7. So that's probably about the right around where you want to be for a jam. But for regular canning, like meats and things like that, you want to start off with something smaller than like 20 jars of something you don't necessarily know the process of doing. So yeah, this was a great resource for small batch canning. That's why I got it. It was one of my first canning books, and I really enjoyed this. I don't use it as much anymore because I'm way past small batch canning unless I'm doing something like meat, and I only have enough for 4 jars because yeah, it was my limit. I got what I could at the price I could. So yeah, this is a great resource. And don't forget, ForJars lids if you're looking for lids. Quick tip I'm finding when I'm doing this, these bigger chunks like this, when I'm breaking them up to put them on these dehydrated trays, they're a lot greasier. I don't know if you can see that, than the smaller chunks. So if you can, try and break them up while they're boiling. Like this piece, see, this piece is going to be a little bit more greasy than the other pieces. And I guess that's to be expected because they still come together and the water didn't get to penetrate between all the fibers and everything. So if you can, try and break it up in the water so you can get as much grease as possible out, so you don't have to worry about that in the dehydrating process and also in the final product, because grease is your enemy for dehydrated and canned foods, really. You want to get as much as you can out. So that's what I'm filling up the last few trays with. Okay, so this is the water I actually boiled the other hamburger in, and I'm not going to waste that either. I'm actually going to make dog food in that. And if I didn't have a dog, yeah, I would find some other use for it. Maybe cook some rice in it or some pasta, because I mean, it will be spaghetti sauce with meat sauce with spaghetti or pasta. So yeah, I would not waste that. So this canner load is finished. I'm just going to take them out, put them right here on my hot rest. Let them cool for 24 hours. And then I'll wash the jars, label them, and put them into my cold room. There they are, still bubbling away. So that's my canning project for the weekend. And remember, if you need canning lids, try out ForJars. And my discount code is in the description box below. And I just want to say Happy Memorial Day to you, and thank you for your service if you served. Okay, it's been about 5.5 hours, and that's how long she did hers for. And I will say, it looks great. It smells great. Let's see if it's dry. Take a piece. Seems like it. It's very crumbly, very dry feeling. I'm going to say it's done. I'm going to let it cool, And then I'm going to can it up in some jars. Yeah, I think it's done. We're going to do a taste test. I'm going to rehydrate some and do a taste test. And we're going to see how we like it. Maybe I'll be doing ground beef this way from now on. Because this way is a lot easier than actually canning. I can dry can this. So, we'll see how it works. And I'm going to test it to see how long it lasts. I will use this before I use the traditional, canned way. I will use this because this won't last as long as pressure canning it. So this will be used up first.